Hello, everybody. Today I'm here with invitations. Now, this invitation is not a new topic for you all because most of the time you've been invited for birthday parties, you've been invited for wedding, for anniversaries, for any occasion. So you receive a numerous amount of invitations in your life. And today we are going to do exactly the same thing. And invitations are of two kinds. One is formal and the other one is informal. So first of all, we're going to do with the formal invitation. Now, these are the main features of the formal invitation. First of all, you have to remember it's very important to write in the third person. Okay, so you do not start an invitation with I in a formal invitation. That is the first person, or you. So it's third, he, she, they, and it always has to be in a present tense. Use a very formal language. It has to be within 50 words. Now, in case of a card, please keep it formalized, please keep it centralized. And in case of letters, it has to be in running lines. Now, remember, students, no format is wrong. It's just that in some of the institutions you follow different formats. Okay, so here, this is the format that we usually use. Now, formal invitation format, it is of two types. One is a card and the second one is a letter. Now, in a card, you have a card invitation and you also have a reply. Now, again, reply are of two types. Either you accept it or you decline. In a letter also, it's the same thing. You have an invitation letter, you have a reply to the invitation, and the reply are of two kinds. One is accepting, the other one is declining. Now, first of all, let's do the invitation cards. Okay. Now, in an invitation card, how should you write? The first of all, it has to have names of the host. Then you use a formal standard expression, for example, requests the pleasure of inviting, seek or seeks. Why I'm writing this in singular plural? Because if I say Mr. and Mrs., then it's going to be request. But if I say Mr. So and so, requests. Okay, likewise, seeks, solicits the gracious presence of. These are some standard expressions that you can always use for your invitations. Next, you write the name of the invitee or who are you inviting. And then the next point is what is the occasion, followed by date, time, venue of the event. All right, this is the first part in a card. Now, the second part would be the name of the chief guest. So when you say the chief guest, it has to be his name and designation. But remember, all invitation cards, the formal invitation cards that I'm talking about, does not have a chief guest, because if it's a formal birthday celebration or wedding celebration is also a formal invitation. Now, in this case, the celebrant themselves are the chief guests. They are the main people. So you don't need a chief guest. All right? So if you have a chief guest, then you also have the standard expression. For example, Mr. ABC, the chief minister of so and so state, has consented to grace the occasion with his benign presence. Then on the left hand side, you write RSVP. Okay, that means the one who's receiving the calls. Maybe sometimes you need to reply, sometimes you need to telephone call to that person inquiring about the occasion. You have queries, so RSVP is the person's name, okay, whom you can connect with. Next, at the end, you have a note. It's centralized at the end. And remember, invitation cards must have the note at the end. Now, this is how it looks like. Now, this is a sample. I don't have to explain much, so you can understand. And please note the spelling of inauguration, because I've seen many of you making the spelling mistake on inauguration. Okay? Like I said, if it's some kind of institution inviting you, then obviously you have a chief guest. For example, here, Mr. XYZ, the mayor of the city, has kindly consented to be the guest of honor, and RSVP, and then the note at the end. Please do not forget to make the border or make the table. Okay. Now, this is a wedding anniversary again. Now, you must have noticed the difference between this invitation and this invitation. Here you had a chief guest, but here, since it's a golden wedding anniversary, you don't need any chief guest because the celebrant, they themselves, they are the main people. All right. Now, the second part of the formal invitation is the invitation letter. Now, whenever you are inviting only few people, or let's say very important people, then you write a letter. You do not print cards. Cards are for mass. Okay? Letters are for few people. It's just like a letter only, a formal letter. But it has to be written in 50 words in one paragraph. So name and address, then followed by a date, then name and designation of the invitee, his address. Okay, the subject, it would be invitation letter. Then you begin with the salutation and the opening line mentioning about the event, the date, time, and venue. Then the next sentence would be purpose of inviting. Maybe you're inviting that person to be the chief guest, or maybe a judge. Okay, and at the end you close the letter by writing soliciting a line in reply, and then your subscription, that means your name, your designation, and all. This is how it looks like. Okay, this is a sample of the letter. Now, reply. I said replies are of two kinds, either accepting or declining. So you can just have a look. It's similar to a formal letter. Now, in your subject, either if you're accepting, then you write accepting. If you're declining, you write declining. Now let's go on to the informal invitation. These are very, informal. It's written in first and second person using a present tense. 50 words, and you could do anything. You could decorate. It could be any shape, size, and it's very, very flexible. Again, likewise, it also has two formats, one in a card form, the other one in a letter. The card again for a mass, letter for few people. Again, in a card, you have, an invitation card, reply, accepting, declining. Letter invitation, reply to the invitation. Again, what kind of reply? Accepting or declining. Now, in an informal invitation card, you have to have the name of the host. Okay? And a standard expression like we cordially invite. Either you can write you or the name of the invitee, the occasion, the reason of the invitation, date, time, and place. This is very important. Whether it's formal, informal, date, time, place is very important. Who's inviting? Whom is that person inviting? That is very important. Then again, RSVP and then the note at the end. So this is how it looks like. Now, letters. Again, these are like informal letters. You have the sender's address, you have the date, salutation body, and then you have a complimentary close, the name of the sender. Okay? So here, this is a little bit different than the formal invitation because here we don't mention the designation as such. Because it's written to our relatives, to our friends and families whom we are very close with. So this is the sample of a letter, the informal invitation letter. See, it looks exactly like a letter. Like a letter. Now again, a reply. Again, it's a short note in a very informal manner. Accepting and declining. You don't need to write subject or the designation of a person, nothing. Very informal. Okay? All right, thank you very much. If you have any queries, please DM me at my Instagram handle. Thank you.